Kennedy,
Governor Bowman.
the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
You're a fine American.
Thank you.
You still have to pay your taxes, though.
I do.
On May 1st now because
I
of
understand.
Hurricane Helene.
I got an
Thank you.
extension on mine.
I'm very excited about that. I'll extend to you 30 seconds for this
Thank you.
colloquy.
Governor Bowman, briefly, if you will, because we've got to go vote. What's the Basel III end game?
It's an international agreement of different countries that participate in the Basel Accords
What's its objective?
to ensure that there's parity across jurisdictions for financial regulation and a level playing field.
It calls for more regulation of American banks, doesn't it?
In some cases, it does, yes.
Your predecessor, Mr. Barr, loved Basel III endgame like the devil loves sin, didn't he?
He embraced it in his proposal.
He bear hugged it. He French kissed it. What problem are we trying to solve with Basel III endgame?
Welcome back to Right View Nation, the channel where we break down the nonsense in Washington and bring common sense and American values. Back into the conversation. Today we've got a spicy one for you. We're reacting to a video that dropped on Forbes Breaking News. Why are you doing that? John Kennedy, rapid fire questions. Key banking nominees. Let me tell you folks, Senator John Kennedy was on fire. And if you care even a little about your tax dollars, America's sovereignty, and mind keeping unelected bureaucrats in check, and then buckle up, because this video exposed the dangerous games being played behind the scenes with your hard-earned money. Let's get into it.
The original proposal was intended
No,
to increase
Mr. Barr's
capital.
proposal.
Right.
What problem are we trying to solve? We have stress tests right now for banks, right?
That's absolutely correct.
And we have capital standards, right?
We do.
What's broken about it?
I think we'll need to take a fresh look at the last Basel agreement and determine what's appropriate for U.S. banks and their ability to have a level playing field across around the world.
Well, let me put it another way. Washington has this propensity, when something's not broken, is to take it apart and loosen a few screws so that it will be. Now, if there's some problem that we're trying to solve with adopting these international standards, I'd like to know it. I asked that repeatedly of Mr. Barr, and he never could. I mean, he was and is. I like him very much, very smart. He's also a silver-tongued devil. He could talk a dog off a meat wagon. And he never answered that question. And so it seems to me that what the Board of Governors has to do is come back and tell us what's broken. Let me ask Mr. Fogel, what's the International Monetary Fund? Briefly, if you don't mind.
Senator, to be honest, I know what it is, but it actually isn't related to the job I've been nominated for, which is global markets at Commerce. It probably better handled by Treasury Department.
All right, that's fair. I understand a dodge when I see it. You did that pretty artfully. How about you, Mr. Hurley? I bet you know.
Yes, sir. I do know what the IMF is, and
Briefly, if you don't mind.
well, so again, it would be my colleague who will get
You
nominated.
own the IMF. I'm hoping you're not telling me you don't know what the IMF. If you're going to be in charge of terrorism and financial crimes.
So yes, sir. I'm very familiar with the IMF. It won't be, I'll have sanctions at TFI and be working with law.
The IMF loans money to other countries, right? Who puts up most of the money for the IMF?
The United States, sir.
That's right. There are about 190 countries in it, and by far we put up most, right?
Yes, sir.
What are special drawing rights?
I'm not terribly familiar with special drawing rights.
You need to get familiar.
Sir.
Special drawing right is when the IMF gets together and decides to declare a dividend to all of the countries. And it's like a dividend. It's really a sheet of paper that says any country can take these dividends, a sheet of paper, and go redeem it for the currency of any other country. And Secretary Yellen did that. To the tune of $650 billion. And she dodged congressional approval by coming for an amount just below the trigger for us to approve it. We gave money to Iran, to Russia, to China, and we're putting up the money. Why aren't we doing that?
Are you asking me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I completely agree, sir.
Well, I've got a bill to say that whenever the Treasury catches a wild hare and decides they want to give away American taxpayer money to Iran, as Treasury Yellen did, that she has to come to Congress for approval. You'll support that, won't you?
I look forward to looking at the legislation, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So Kennedy starts off questioning Fed Governor Michelle Bowman about something called Basel III Endgame. Sounds like a Marvel movie, right? But no, this is an international banking regulation framework that basically tries to force American banks to must comply with foreign standards. Now let me ask you this, folks. Why are we, the United States of America, bowing to international financial elites? Bowman admits that yes, it would increase regulation on American banks. But when Kennedy asks, what problem are we solving? There's crickets, just vague talk about level playing fields and global parity. That's globalism, plain and simple. They want to harm American banks so we can match the rest of the world. Sorry, but the last time I checked, we don't exist to make France or Germany feel better about their inferior systems. We're America. We lead. We don't follow. Kennedy, in classic Louisiana style, says Mr. Barr, Bowman's predecessor, French kissed. The Basel III proposal. I mean, the guy has a way with words, doesn't he? But here's the serious point behind the joke. These bureaucrats love regulation for the sake of it, not to fix anything, not to help Americans, but to grow their own power. And when Kennedy asked them, point blank, what's broken? They couldn't answer. You know why? Because nothing is broken. We already have ready capital standards, or more stress tests, can matter in more bank oversight than ever before. Then Kennedy turns to Eric Folger, a nominee for global markets at the Commerce Department. He asks him about the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Now, Folger does what a lot of these nominees do when cornered. He dodges, says it's not in his lane. That's a problem. You're nominated for global markets and don't know how the IMF, the most powerful global lender, affects American markets? Either you're unqualified or you're hiding something. Either way, you shouldn't be confirmed. Here's where it gets really dangerous, squad folks. Kennedy presses another nominee, Brent Neiman, about special drawing rights, or SDRs. Essentially fake money the IMF gives out like candy. And guess what? We're footing the bill. America pays the most into the IMF. And then we hand over control so they can issue these SDRs to countries like Iran, Russia, and China. Let that sink in. We are financing our enemies. Yellen, no one in the Biden Treasury asked Congress. Not even a courtesy email. Kennedy points out that Secretary Yellen snuck in a $650 billion SDR package, just below the amount that would trigger congressional oversight. That's not just sneaky, that's anti-democratic. That's un-American. So what does Kennedy do? He puts forward a wee common sense bill. If the Treasury wants to give away our money through the IMF, they need Congress's approval. Period. End of story. And guess what? The nominee dances around it, says he'll look at the legislation. No, if you can't say yes to Congress having oversight over $650 billion in taxpayer money, you don't deserve to be in the position. This hearing proves just how deep the rot runs in D.C. It's not just the career bureaucrats, it's the whole unaccountable system of global finance, of shadowy decisions made in back rooms, with American dollars being used to prop up these regimes that hate us. And thank God for patriots like Senator John Kennedy, who aren't afraid to speak plainly and ask the real questions. Here at Right View Nation, we're going to keep calling this out because, Russ, this isn't just about economics. It's about our sovereignty, our security, our future. If you agree that we should put America first and stop this reckless globalism, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below saying, "No taxpayer money for our enemies." And don't forget to share this video with your friends. They need to see the truth that the mainstream media won't touch. This is Right View Nation, and we'll see you next time, where America still comes first. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.